Next, this gentleman, Darnell Ferguson, has no idea because we've never met, but I am a super fan of his. I am a Louisville resident, lifelong resident, and I love his restaurant, Super Chefs, and I love his story. So I'm a little nerdy here, but I am definitely geeking out because I think Darnell's story is special, and I'm so excited he is here to share it with us today. Let me introduce you to him. Darnell Super Chef Ferguson is most recently known for appearing on the premiere of Guy Fieri's Tournament of Champions, where he won in his battle round the legendary Alex, I'm not going to say this right, Germishelli. As Guy Fieri told Darnell, you just pulled off the biggest upset in culinary history. Darnell is also the winner of Ultimate Thanksgiving Challenge hosted by Giada De Laurentiis on the Food Network and has appeared as a guest on shows such as Rachel Ray, Beat Bobby Flay, and Guy's Grocery Games. Darnell is responsible for bringing high-end fine dining to short order cooking and is best known for his innovative urban eclectic style, which uses traditional flavors in untraditional ways. His restaurants are located in Louisville, Kentucky, Columbus, Ohio, and Tuscumbia, Alabama. Darnell has inspired many of us with his story of adversity as he went from living out of his car to becoming a nationally recognized TV personality and restaurateur. Darnell uses his platform as an opportunity to give back to the community, including teaching others how food and the culinary arts can positively impact your life. We've watched Darnell in Louisville as our native for years. I worked at Sullivan University once upon a time and watched his career blossom. And we're so proud of him and how he uses his story. Please welcome Darnell Ferguson.
And the crowd goes wild.
Woo!
Oh man, thank y'all for having me today. Definitely glad I could do this and be here today. Is my connection great?
You are set, look great, sound great. So thank you, Darnell. Go for it.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I guess, well, good morning, everybody. Like you said, you may know me from my restaurants here in Louisville, Kentucky, or from being on TV. But today I'm going to share a little bit about how we got from where we were all the way back then to where we're at today. And for me, I grew up and was raised just like, I guess I would say most people in the country. Um, well, I don't know if most people in the country were raised like me or not, but all the people who lived around me. But I was raised by my mom, and she ended up getting married later on in life. Actually, it wasn't later on in life. I was in middle school, sixth grade when she got married. Or no, I was in eighth grade when she got married. But I grew up with a very normal, I would say, like childhood, man. I really enjoyed it. We played a lot. My mom gave me the ability to just be a kid, not to have to worry about working or anything like that. Um, but I guess the one difference that in my life that wasn't normal for everybody else was that I actually, sorry, so you're going to see real life here because in the midst of, I had to move from where I was at because the service was bad. So now I'm right next to my restaurant door. But that's the story of my life. It's never as it thinks it's going, as I think it's going to be. But then I got into vocational school my junior year in high school. So I went through school just normal. I never was like the special kid. No one ever really thought I would be like a star, superstar athlete or nothing like that. Just was really just I played the middle of the ground my whole life. I just was likable. But I always felt that there was something more to me. And I used to sit in my mom's car on the weekends and just like fantasize about like what I could do in life. But that I never had an idea of what it would look like though, because I didn't cook at that time. And then I started watching the Food Network, and I used to love Emerald. That was the one thing I loved. I loved his outfit, like a chef coat. And sometimes in life, it only takes you to really just start with something you like. And from there, I was told myself like I really enjoyed cooking. I used to do it on the weekends with my family. And granted, all we did was cook cereal and put cheese on top of it and leftover pizza. So it was nothing like you see today. But I got into vocational school because school was very tough for me. I did not like school. I didn't like it at all. As you can see, most kids today, or just kids in general, like school does not seem like it's for everybody. And I got into vocational school because I liked cooking enough. So I only went to high school for 2 hours a day, started my junior year in high school. And that was what really started to change everything for me, was that I got into a vocation, which was cooking for me. I wasn't a book person. I wasn't going to sit there and read. But if you put me in something that was like teachable, to where you were showing me something and I could redo it, I was really good at that in life. Got into there, and I remember I got into this my junior year in high school, and I had a teacher who is either a really good liar or just a very great person. I'm still battling between which one she is today when I see her. And I remember they gave us, the first thing you do is like knife skills. First thing you learn in school is knife skills. And I remember her coming up to me and giving me a potato, and she gave me a knife, and she gave me this little board that shows you all the knife skills that she wanted me to do. Julian, Brunoise, everything. And I remember she left for 30 minutes and came back. And she's like, every single thing you did is perfect. She's like, have you practiced this before? Because usually people who go to vocational school, have been to summer camps, have done something professional cooking so far. But that wasn't me. And she's like, have you done this before? I was like, nope. Like, no one would ever give me a knife before today. And she started cracking up. And she was like, well, I want to put you on my team, my culinary team. She's like, because you got a lot of skills. She's like, it looks like you've been cutting for like 30 years. And I'm like, 30 years? She's like, yes, you're really good at this. She's like, I'm telling you, she's like, you're really good. Like, you look like you have 30 years of experience. And for me, that changed everything for me. I've always been a words of affirmation kind of person. I learned that in my life, that if I get the right people around me that say the right thing at the right time, I could just turn into something totally different. And the cool thing about that is she didn't see me as everyone else seen me. Like, even at that time, my mom used to joke, because I had just switched high schools my junior year too, and my mom used to joke and say to my tutor when she met him at my high school, she said, "Oh, he's like, man, I love Darnell." And she's like, "Oh, well, you haven't met him long enough yet." So she used to joke like that. But I got around people who never would say anything that wasn't true about who I could be. And that was key for me, is that my teacher at my vocational school, she never told me, she never judged me off of how bad I was being. Like, there was a time where literally when I first got into vocational school, she told me, "Oh, well, Darnell, you got to go wash dishes." And I remember telling her, "I don't do dishes." Like, I was like, "That's a woman's job." This is credit. I'm all of 16 years old. And she's like, "Oh, it's a woman's job." Okay. I literally did dishes for the rest of the year. Like, literally had to do dishes every single day until the year ended because of what I said. Which is good for me to learn, is that you can make one small mistake and mess up a whole year of your life. Like, I was learning these things when I was very young. Like, okay, let me watch what I say, because I don't want to be doing something for a whole year because of 30 seconds. And, it was just those things like that. I was really, God has put me around some really great people that got me to where I'm at, and it started without them even focusing on my talents. They really just focused on who I was as a person. And then when I got older, I kind of ran away from that, and I started focusing on my career again, because in school and in life, you're always told, like, what are you going to be? What are you going to be? Like, I was always, so I got into cooking. I was really good at it. I became really good really fast. I didn't do that in no sport. Basketball, football, there was always people so much better than me. But in cooking, there had never been no one like me before, because there was no one who came from where I came from who cooked. So I always stood out on how I looked. And then I really stood out because of how I could cook food and how I could make it look. And then I got into college. It was time to go to college. I'm gonna just fast pace for you all, so you can kind of just see the story and how it always comes back to like who I am. Then I went to college. I loved it there. I really loved it here in Louisville. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. So I was in school in Columbus, came to Louisville because Sullivan recruited us from my from my vocational school. So it's kind of like being a basketball player. You know how Duke and North Carolina come and recruit you? Well, Sullivan, Johnson Wells, CIA, they all came and recruited us. And I came to Sullivan because it was closest to my home. And I loved it. I shined at Sullivan. I stood out like a sore thumb. And I was super serious. By the time I got to college, even though I was 18, I had a whole different mind frame because of my years in high school and vocational school. That was a game changer for me. Whereas most people here don't get that opportunity to like focus in on what they want to do for the rest of their lives while they're in high school. That way, when they get out of high school, they're already a step ahead of people. And that was one thing I had. So I got down here and I had to start college in night school because I didn't have the funds to go to day school. And because I played around my ninth and 10th grade year in high school and didn't make the grades, I literally averaged a 0.8 my ninth and 10th grade year. So therefore, since I played around in school a lot, I couldn't get a scholarship. I couldn't get accepted. So they accepted me in night school. So I went to school with all the people our ages now. Like I would not want to be in school with me. I'm just too boring now. Like I wanted to be in school with the 20-year-olds and 21 and 18 and 19-year-olds. But I stayed in the dorms with them, but I went to school with the adults who had kids and who were working multiple jobs. And I hated that part of school. So I've always had to adapt to understand that it's not about what I'm doing, but it's about where I'm trying to go. And I've always been able to separate the present from the plans for the future. And that is something that I think a lot of people just need to be able to do, even in this time that we're in. It's very important that we keep an eye on where we're trying to get to and not just what we're going through. Because what we're going through can sometimes mess us up and put us in a whole different mind frame that it doesn't take to get the fruit that we're trying to bear, if that makes any sense. So I got into college, excelled in college. I ended up getting chosen to be a chef for the USA teams in the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, which was a game-changing moment for me. And they only chose 21 students out of the whole country to do this. And I was one of the 21 students. And I just couldn't believe it. Like it was the biggest thing, probably the biggest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. The biggest moment that was the catalyst of everything, was being chosen to cook for the USA teams. We went to China for 3 months during the Olympics to help out. We were there before it started, a little bit after it ended. And that was really what changed the game for me. That's what made me realize that, hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then on top of that, when I got back, I had already been doing the wrong things. Like I really wanted to make a lot of quick money in life. As a kid, you had a dream of having a certain type of car by a certain age. I chose a lot of bad choices in college. Really, I put myself in a bad situation. I ended up starting to sell drugs while I was in college to get myself through college because I didn't apply myself enough to work a full-time job and to go to school. I tried it and I started falling out of school. I would get a job at Smoky Bones because it's right up the street from the restaurant. I would get a job here at a warehouse. I would get a job at Dairy Queen, and they always would mess with my schooling. So I stopped, and then I started just selling drugs. It was easy. Everyone in college was doing it. But what happened was it became a way of life for me. It started to overtake my whole cooking. Nothing about cooking mattered anymore. It was all about making money. And then that's when things started to go south. I graduated when I got back from the Olympics. I graduated college, and I was like, I'm gonna take some time off from cooking. I'm gonna just full time sell drugs. Makes no sense at all. Like, I've had a career that most would dream of at the age of 19, but I was still choosing to take the other route. And that's what got me in the situation that I was in. And I literally got locked up probably, I stopped counting. I'm not from Louisville. And for everyone in Louisville, like correctional center, to know my name, know my face, know everything about me when I get locked up, it started to make me realize, like, who am I becoming? Like, I started to be the person, because we grew up with the DARE in the DARE area, DARE era in life, like, the DARE keep kids off drugs. It's always tell you, don't get yourself in the system. You'll never be able to get out. And I started to see myself as that person. You can go through the other door. I started to see myself as that we were talking about. And that was where I had to change everything. And I remember being locked up for the last time I've ever been locked up. And I told myself, I was like, no matter what happens in life, I'll be dirt poor before I ever sell drugs again. Before I ever put myself in a situation where I don't even have no rights anymore and I'm just locked up. I said, I'll do whatever it takes, but I ain't never coming back here. And that's when I said I'm gonna give 100% to like my gift, which is cooking. And that is what I did. Like I 100% dove into what I do in a way I've never seen myself do anything. But that didn't change a lot of decisions I'd already made. But so when I got out of jail for the last time, my landlord evicted me. The roommates had told on me, like everything just went crazy. Like I got out, I was like, yes, I'm out. I'm about to change my life. But those decisions I'd already made was still like, hey, you got to take care of these first. But in that time is where I learned that, how do I put this? not every battle is for you to fight, but it is for you to face. Like, I didn't have to fight that battle. God was going to take care of it for me. He's going to work out things for me, but I had to face what I did still. Like, so therefore I had to live out my car. Like, most people have been in this point where everything's in your car. You know what I'm saying? Anything you own is in that car. And sleeping on a friend's couches, and staying on one friend. It was, I think it was 6 of us and two full-grown pit bulls in a one-bedroom apartment. And staying on his floor in his bed and just trying to make it. And then I would, some days they would get in fights, couldn't stay there those nights, sleep in my car, no problem. But the one thing I learned about myself really early in life is that and this is how I wrote it. This is how the best way I can quote it for you is: the victim mindset dilutes the human potential. By not accepting personal responsibility for our circumstances, we greatly reduce our power to change them. And that was something that really stuck with me from reading. Is like, I'm the reason why everything's happening. You know, like, I couldn't put it on no one else but myself. And that has been what's changed my life, is by me being accountable for everything that's going on in my life. Not trying to wonder why it's happening to me, but knowing that I played a part in it and I'm going to play a part in getting out of it also. And that accountability is something I hadn't seen growing up. I hadn't seen people, when something happened, just say, "Hell, that was my fault. It was me. I'm going to be better. I'm going to change it. This won't happen again. I'm going to go about it this way." And then slowly over time, my mentality just started to change. My mind started to change. I started to reach out and try to learn more about life. I used to have a lot of anger issues, just basically from not dealing with stuff as a child. And I remember one day I asked somebody I was working for. I said, "You got a church I can go to?" And he was the last person I should have been asking this. He was not the person to ask about church. Not that there's somebody to ask, but you got somebody like, that ain't the person to ask. But I asked him, so he all I had. He told me, "Go to Southeast." I go there, and went there Thursday after went. I remember like bawling like a baby. Like, I remember I'm 6'4", pretty big guy. And I just remember bawling like a baby. And the first day I ever walked in there, like everything I was waiting to hear, he was saying to me. And I think the thing that I think a lot of people are searching for in life is they're searching for that purpose, that uniqueness, that stardom, that's them, like something that is unique about them. And when I went to church, I learned everything that was unique about me. And that's all I needed to hear, was that I am more than even what I thought I was before. And I didn't have a real thought about myself because no one ever told me who I was. They only tried to figure out what I wanted to be in life. And success started to happen for me the day that I stopped worrying about what I was going to be and started worrying about who I was going to be. Because no matter what I do, I'm a pretty good chef, probably is what people would say, but there's a billion of me out there. So it's like, but there's only, how do I change? How do I show like who I truly am? And that was by me focusing 100% on who I was going to be as a person. And that was where I really focused. That was like not on the cooking side of life, but on the personal side of life. And that would be my number one key to success. I would say to people is like, it's not what you do, it's who you are and how you do it. You know, it's the way I go about handling my business that makes people want to do business with me. It's the way I talk to my staff that makes people want to work with me. It's the way that I reach out to the community that makes people want to come eat with me. You know, so it's all those things that tie into this whole super chef that really makes me tick. So getting my life back together, I started these pop-up restaurants, and I'm looking at the comments at the bottom of it. I started these pop-up restaurants because the key to life is like, how do you start up something if you have no money? That's the number one thing. Is most people, it's coming from, even from the Isaiah house, like, don't have any funds. Like, we're not tied to a money tree that we can go to get a loan for 25,000 to 100,000 to start something. So what I did was, and what I was shown at a young age is, focus 100% on what you do have, not on what you don't have. And that's where we started our pop-up restaurants, where we went inside of places that didn't serve breakfast. Our first place was a gyro place, and we rented their space out while they were closed. And we ran our own breakfast pop-up. We started off in one place, and one summer, 4 other restaurants asked us to do the same thing inside of the restaurant. This was not the plan. The only plan I had at this point was to try to make a living. And from there, things just started to just blossom. And I'll tell you this 100%. We didn't wait to become great. And I think I see a lot of times people are waiting for the right opportunity to start becoming something great. When we were in the back of a gyro restaurant, we were doing the food quality that you would find in a nice sit down restaurant. I didn't wait till the situation got perfect for me to start wanting to do. We just got to start doing our best right now. And that's what I learned a lot about life is that it's not about waiting for something. The perfect opportunity is never coming. You just have to you have to make that opportunity right now. And from there, I've been able to do, the Rachel Ray's and tons of shows. I competed on Food Network so many times. I mean, literally 15 times I competed on Food Network. And now we're in the midst of working on our own TV show now, which is like, this is where we want to get to. Literally working on Wave 3 right now to sit down, where we already sat down to put our first competition show together locally that'll be aired on Wave 3. So that is something that we're at right now. But it's just, for me now, it's about more than me. That's why I coached the high school culinary team at Western High School, who won state last year, but then COVID hit and they couldn't make it to nationals. So this next year, hopefully, we'll be able to win state again and then go to nationals, and then hopefully they'll definitely win nationals. Because to me, into all the chefs who are there judging them, there's not a team like them. And it doesn't just come down to their food; it comes down to their practices. And this is why I preach to them and everybody. It's not about the the picture. It's about every stroke. It's about every small detail. It's about how you talk. It's about how you present yourself to people. It's about how you encourage them. It's about so much more than just being a great at your profession, man. It's really about the small details that paint the picture and make it look really good. Um, and that's really how I got to where I'm at today. Now with the restaurant here in Louisville, Kentucky, opened the one in Ohio and one in Alabama. We're looking at right now trying to close the deal with El Home on trying to open up one in the West End, over that Ninth Street Divide. And the thing about that is my purpose is so much bigger than profit, because the only reason why I would do this restaurant is because they've asked almost every restaurant to open up one in the West End. No one will open up one. So I felt like if I was the first to do it and it was a success, then other restaurateurs would take that chance as well, because it's poverty stricken. There's just like a food desert. They only have one sit down restaurant, but thousands on top of thousands of people over there. So that's what our restaurant is about. It's about trying to have the most inspirational restaurant in the world, and not just the best restaurant in the world.
All right, Darnell, you are getting
Yeah.
Darnell, oh my gosh, you know me now. I've been a fangirl of yours for a decade, and now we know each other. I have been going to your restaurants for a long, long time, so it really is a privilege. We are getting a lot of light up chat box quotes from you. I think "Don't wait to be great" is now the theme of this conference. So I'm trying to watch out for any questions that come in. If you all have any questions for Darnell, please put them in that chat. One question from Emily McCarthy: what is your favorite dish at your restaurant, Darnell?
Oh, the banana pudding granola encrusted French toast. By far. Like, it's not even a close two for me.
That's
But that was one of the deal. Yeah, that was one of the meals I ate when testing out the food. And that's why you see these competition shows. Just know if you see somebody do horrible on a competition show, it is not their fault. Like, they do not train like that. That is not normal. That is like taking someone who types all day long and then putting them in a typing challenge where they have to eat ribs and have to lick their fingers before they type the word. Like, you're like, what is going on here? Like, this is not normal. But when I first tasted the banana pudding French toast, I had the biggest smile on my face I probably ever had in my life. I was like, this one right here is gonna change everything.
It'll change your life. I love that. And love to see that you're going to be expanding into the West End. I will follow your restaurant there. I think that that's such a beautiful thing in the Louisville community, and you're such a beacon of hope. I know you're not from here, but I hope you know how much we just claim you as ours. And I'll say too, I mean, Darnell, you've really talked about your own ability to not wait to be great. So when we think about, like, this is the business community that's here with us today, the Kentucky Chamber is the state's largest business association. And what do you have to say to employers when we think about opening our doors and looking beyond the box and opening our doors to second chance hiring and giving people another chance? What would you have to say to employers for that?
Well, that second chance employers are definitely the dominant employees. But I've learned that this is 100%. This goes so much with the Isaiah House. I don't know is that Isaiah House? Is that what it's called?
Yep. Yep.
It goes so much with that, and I don't know if they're named after Isaiah in the Bible or not. But I was in that chapter yesterday. But I would say that, and this is just me being honest. This is the only thing I can tell you is what I know.
Yeah, you're in a safe.
We all want to be successful in business, right? We all know business is hard. No matter what business you in, it's not just unless you just in, like, I don't know, Amazon. Like, it's ups, it's downs. There's so much. Like, there is so much that we need in business. There's so much we need from outside people, but it's kind of hard to need stuff from people and to be giving stuff to people. It's almost like if you want success in your business, you have to be giving someone else the opportunity to be successful also. And that is just like, it's like a tenfold thing. And then we talked about this last night with my friends. If we're praying to God for something, but we're not out touching people and helping them with something, why would he listen to what I'm asking for? Because it's only about myself. And our businesses have to serve the people, right? We call it a revolving door at our restaurant. If people come in and eat with me, I go out and do things with them. Or no matter, you know how many times I get called from people, can you come do this? As long as I'm available, I'm good. I only say no if I'm out of town. But it's so important, man, that we are servicing the community because, man, I'll tell you this, man, some people are late sprouters. I was a late sprouter. I was not where I was supposed to be at 25. It wasn't until 26 where I started to get myself together. And and I can tell you this also, I work with and employ a lot of adults. And one thing I've learned about adults is we're very, very similar to children in the sense of, like, we need those opportunities to get it right.
Right.
And I've learned that most people just have never been around anyone who would work with them. That's the number one issue I've seen, is that they've worked with people who have told them what to do, but no one who's actually took time to help them, like, grow into that person. And that's what my business is about. And that's why that's why when we're hiring, we used to get people so fast. And that's why, because they know, like, hey, if you're here with me, that's why we have so many young people, because someone has to show someone how to do it the right way. Whereas most people have never seen it, they've just been told it. But if you come around a business that's willing to work with you, oh my goodness, you know the kind of employees you get. I got employees who would never leave me. I got employees that would never go work anywhere else. They would never, like, well, I remember we shut down. It's like, well, we're not getting another job. We'll wait till you reopen. Like, we're not going. I'm like, you should get another job. Like, no. I'm like, you definitely should.
That's amazing. I mean, and I think it speaks so well that, you get back what you put out. And I know I speak on my store of recovery, and I have a staff who's come back from incarceration and recovery herself. And I will say, even those dynamics, working with her, and her name's Ashley McCarty, she speaks so boldly on her store. I feel like I'm a better leader. I feel like I'm a better person, to all the amazing points that you just really preached on. So I don't think there's another way that we can end it than those incredible notes you just left us with. And you've all just left us hungry. And it is time for our lunch break. So Darnell, we can't thank you enough for being here. I've been waiting a long time to hear your story. It did not disappoint. Can't wait to get some takeout from Super Chefs very soon. So look forward to connecting with you in the future. And thank you again for sharing your story and being so bold in your own testimony.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank y'all for having me. And everyone, I hope y'all are making it through these tough times. I know everyone's in some type now, but just know that it's going to get better.
It will, indeed. Thank you so much, Darnell. Have a great day. All right, so next it is lunchtime, and I'm sure we're all hungry now. So we're going to take the next 25 minutes to go grab lunch, take a break, and then we'll meet back here to hear from the Honorable Governor Andy Beshear. We'll see you at 11:55. Please join us back at 11:55. Thank you so much. See you soon.